So if you've been in any trade long enough, especially welding, I guarantee you've made a mistake, whether you're just starting out the process or maybe you've been doing it for several years. So when you make a mistake as a welder, how far can you go? What should you do? You don't want to get ran off, but you also want to do the right thing. So Keegan, what's your thoughts? What do you do when you make a mistake?
Well, it's a pretty big gray area, but let's say we're making a weld and we get porosity. We miss a wall and get lack of fusion. Usually you can fix it, and most of the time if you don't know how to fix it, there's going to be someone around you to show you how to fix it. And time over time you'll keep making mistakes and you'll learn how to fix them and stuff, but sometimes something can happen to where it gets too bad, and that's where you can get like a supervisor or something, and they're usually cool with it, but it all comes back to you, what kind of employee you are, what kind of welder you are, and how hard do you work, for this company, because how big the repercussion is depends on what kind of employee you are. So if you're someone who's lazy, doesn't care, doesn't show up, doesn't really want to be there, then they're going to be a little bit harder on you and more likely, try to fire you or run you off or whatever. But if you're someone who is trying to work, make their best welds every day, do the best they can, they're going to be more lenient and they're going to be more forgiving on what the situation is. But it's all circumstantial and how you go about it. So
right. So if I got a little bit of porosity in my weld, I want to take a grinder and get that out of that restart and make that repair. Because if I don't and I bury it in the weld, they may not see it when they VT my cover pass, but the x-ray tech's going to find it, and then it's going to cost the company a lot more money because now they got to do a cutout or a repair. So you're going to be better off to be honest and say, hey, I got a little bit of porosity here, I don't know how to get it out, or say, hey, can I use my grinder to get that out? Those things go a long way, the honesty and integrity in the weld.
Right, and it also goes back to the type of company you're working for too, because there are some companies they won't shoot welds, and that will make you really, really lazy and build really poor habits. So something that I've always done with my welding career is every weld it like it's going to be x-rayed, and then you will never have an issue. Now, the cool thing about welding is whatever you put in, you can take out. So if you mess up, you can fix it. So that's one of the biggest things in welding is learning how to fix your mistakes, and it keeps you from getting fired or busting a weld.
Yeah, one thing, if I'm a new welder, I've never welded that type of process before, once I kind of learn how to do it, if I make a mistake, then I'm going to try to fix that on my own. Your eyes are the first person to see that weld. You are the first line of defense, you're the first QC. So hey, if you turn in a lackluster weld, let's say it's an ugly weld, and I know the word ugly is not in the code book, but if you turn in an ugly weld, then that instructor is going to think, well, you need to work on getting your welds to look better, but also could you have done better? That weld is a representation of your quality work.
Right, and whenever you first start out welding, if you get into the habit of fixing everything you see wrong, you will never have any worries at all. You'll be able to sleep at night, because there were times whenever I didn't fix something I seen and I had the worst night of sleep I've ever had. Now, from doing this time and time again, you'll know what will shoot and what won't, and it'll be easy for you to look in the root, pick it out, fix it. If not, it's good to go. So.
That's right. Yeah, definitely don't hide anything in the weld.
Right.
Make sure you're honest, make sure you tell the QC. Now there's going to be a line that's going to be drawn. If you got something wrong with every weld and you're wearing your QC out and your supervisor, every single weld,
right,
that's going to be a little too much. You want to make sure you got enough experience to know when, but then you want to make sure that it's not every single weld either.
Right, exactly, and that's the big thing. Just making sure you're doing the best each weld you can, fixing everything you can, and just letting your supervisor, foreman know what issues you have going on. Right. So.
And sometimes it's not just, I got to fix my weld. Other times you need to fix something that will in turn fix your weld. So instead of just repairing porosity in the weld all the time, maybe you need to tighten the arc on the 7018, or maybe you need to adjust your gas flow up. So you got to fix the things that are causing the problem in addition to fixing the problem.
Right, correct. And that's what it all comes back to. There's always a source of the problem and there's always a way to fix it. So that's the big things in learning how to weld and starting out in the industry, is learning these things and also getting seasoned welders' opinion on that.
That's right.
All right, guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out the links below, and we have a virtual tour on our website that you can check out and look at the school. Thanks so much. See you next time.